Welcome back, everyone. Courtney, Scarlett here, and this is your Sports Roundtable. I'm pleased to be joined by Burhan Ehsan, owner of the franchise. Welcome, Burhan.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
I'm joined by Shelly Dhingra, operator of She Loves the Raptors, the community fan page on Instagram. Welcome, Shelly.
Thank you for having me.
And of course, our favorite Toronto Raptors broadcaster, Mr. Jack Armstrong. Hello!
Hello. How you guys doing? Thanks for having me on. And
Great, Jack.
really pleasure to be on with you, Courtney and Burhan and Shelly, and I'm thrilled to be here.
Awesome. So guys, let's just get right into it. As we all heard, the NBA is set to return to action on July 31st. Guys, we haven't seen basketball since March 11th. What have you missed most about the NBA not being here, and what are you most looking forward to once it returns?
Honestly, everyone says you miss basketball, and I do. I love basketball. I miss the people. I just miss the interaction with the players and the coaches and the fellow broadcasters and fans and scouts and executives and the ticket takers and the ushers and the vendors and just everyone part of the experience. So that's what I miss, is just the interaction with people. I think we all miss that. So, yeah, that orange ball brings us all together. So the long and short of it, I just think the vibe, the fun, the anticipation, the excitement, I miss all that.
Oh, I can't agree more with Jack. Everything about the experience, the sport itself is very exciting, and being part of a team that's been in the playoff run for so many seasons and now champions, I mean, it can't get better than where we're at right now as a city, as a nation. So that excitement and that coming together and fans just blowing up social media, blowing up the media. I'm sure Jack hears from just about everybody every day. Just about how excited they are is what I miss the most. And it seems like it's felt like crickets when everything shut down. It was like the world just stopped for the last couple of months. And I'm excited to just have our game back, see our team, our players, and that experience back in our lives again, for sure.
Definitely. And it was just about a year ago, around this time last year, where we did win that championship. And do you guys remember how much of a buzz there was in the city? I mean, it was just absolutely phenomenal. And like you just said, Shelly, just crickets. And things are definitely changed so drastically.
Well, it's funny. I think number one, I think we can all agree, we all have something that we can unite with together now, finally, during this whole COVID thing. So we can all, relate to one another, laugh. All of a sudden, a WhatsApp conversation, social media is going to be a sense of togetherness. Secondly, I personally thought this past season or current season is one of the best we've seen in a while. The competitive landscape's been really, really fun. The West has been awesome. The East has been great. Once again, Jack, you're probably no better than any of us. Nobody gives the Raptors any love. Like, I was watching yesterday, and they went, Milwaukee's the front leader, Boston and Philly. If they can figure it out, Philly will be okay. And I'm sitting here like, wait a minute, we're the second seed.
No, you're totally right. And, I agree with you, Brian. And, think about it. The Raptors have the third best record overall in the NBA. There's 27 teams behind them.
Right.
And they have the second seed in the East right now. And they have as good a record as they did a year ago with Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green. And they've been absolutely devastated with injuries. And when you made the point about what a great season this was, what a great season it was for the Raptors. When I reflect on the first 64 games of the season, honestly, I've had as much fun, if not more fun this season as I did a year ago. This team's been just a joy to be around and a joy to watch and to see how they've evolved and come together. So I'm totally with you on that. I mean, I keep hearing about Zion this and Zion that. Hey, man, they got 8 games to figure it out and maybe get in the playoffs. How about the team that is a champion? How about the other really good teams? Let's talk about them rather than guys that aren't even in the playoffs.
Definitely. And like you said, Burhan, you've got no love at all. I mean,
none, man.
A lot of analysts said, Raptors won't even make the playoffs. Like, are you serious? Don't make the playoffs? Got love it all. And here we are, number 2 in the East with all those injuries, just a testament to the hard work they've been doing, the great coaching from Nick Nurse. And while we're talking about the Raptors, what do you guys think will be our biggest challenge en route to defending our challenge? Any teams in particular that think will stand in our way? Let's go ahead with Shelly.
Oh man, I have a biased opinion. I think that our Raptors can never be outbeaten. I think the challenges we face is what everyone's facing right now. I mean, every team is at a disadvantage in many ways, right from conditioning to training to coaching to the mindset to being a first-year player versus a veteran player. Everyone has a different routine and a different way of accomplishing their personal and professional goals. And so we also face the cross-border, the quarantine. A lot of that is going to play into how prepared we are once the season gets started. So I think we all have a different place and a different running start point to get to where we want to be. But the Raptors have surprised us in so many ways. Even as fans, I think a lot of us were kind of like, wow. I didn't expect us to be the 2nd seed in the East without Kawhi, but here we are. So I don't underestimate our team in any way. I think they can overcome just about any challenge.
Well, just to tag what Shelly said, I agree. I mean, this is a team that, just has a great makeup. And I look at the East, and there's so many variables, as Shelly touched on, that we really don't know what is going to end up being the defining factors until we live it. Right? I mean, none of us are going to really know until, fingers crossed, knock wood, that, in October we have an NBA champion. Hopefully it's the Raptors. But ultimately, we're not going to really know what those major factors were in this environment to be the difference. But the one thing I do know in the East, there's 6 good teams. You have Toronto, Milwaukee, Miami, Indiana, Philadelphia, and Boston, and they're all really good. And I think each and every one of them can look in the mirror and say, hey, you know what, if we're healthy and if we play together and play to our potential, we can play with anybody in the conference. So I think that's great. So not only if you're a Raptor fan should you be excited, I think there's a lot of fans in a lot of markets that are excited. I look at a market like Denver. I think they should be excited. Yeah, everyone's talking about the Clippers and the Lakers, but if you're Denver, Utah had a big injury with Bogdanovich is not going to play the rest of the season. That hurts them. Houston, they have a different looking team now. They're going to play small. But I think you should be excited if you're those markets. But I think for the Raptors, they are a championship contender, and they have as good a chance as any of those other really good teams if the dynamics of whatever this is work in their favor. But I do think they have the chemistry and the makeup and the leadership. They have all the attributes. I just don't know what is going to actually be the things that truly put you over the hump. I don't think any of us are going to know until we see it.
I think it's kind of nice. We might have a healthy squad finally. We might have a full team that's rested, ready to go. There's that picture floating around of Marc Gasol. He looks like he's 30 again, like 27, 28 again. So, especially for a guy like that who almost played a full year, 12 months almost. It's nice to see that. So maybe this worked out for us. But like Jack said, it's going to be interesting to see because there's so many dynamics. I mean, there's no travel. There's all the games are apparently going to be during the day now. So it's going to be a little bit different.
And Jack, you also you made a very interesting point where we really don't know what to expect. I mean, I think it was just yesterday, a lot of players had voiced their concerns about, the restart of the season, going into Orlando with the whole quarantine situation. Players have expressed their concerns about potentially, health issues. I think the NBA also said that they might have some provision saying if players don't want to rejoin their teams, they're not going to be penalized. What are your thoughts on that and the whole health and safety issues when it comes to return to play?
Well, number one, I have full confidence in the NBA. I have full confidence in the Players Union that they will, Michelle Roberts and Adam Silver, Chris Paul and company, will, have a collaborative discussion, and they've been having those discussions constantly, daily. So I feel like whatever formula they come up with is going to be as good a formula as you can put together. It's imperfect. It's perfectly imperfect, but I think the intent is pure. I think the intent is proper. You've heard an overwhelming number of players voice the opinion that they want to play, and now in the last few days you've had some pushback. I would say as well, part of that might be a negotiating ploy. Some of that might be just, hey, let's get some of these issues on the table. Because I think put any of us in this situation, as much as you might say, hey, I get to go to Orlando and stay in a nice hotel where there's a swimming pool and a golf course, but understand something. People aren't going to Orlando in the middle of August where it's 95 degrees and it's a thunderstorm every day at 3 o'clock to go play golf or to sit at a pool. I mean, you're there for work. And to think about maybe, one of our elite teams or two of our elite teams, they're going to have to stay there from mid-July, potentially to mid-October, and not see your family and pretty much be, relatively speaking, on lockdown. There's a lot of questions you might have. And I think more than anything else, I think it's those questions that now that people are doing the proverbial deeper dive, I think those are the questions that are coming up right now. And again, I feel confident in the leadership on both sides that they'll work it out as best as they can.
I definitely think it's also going to be a big psychological issue too. I mean, just being, pretty much on lockdown, away from your family, they're going to have a complete different mindset. At the same time, it's going to make them probably focus even more on the game, focus on winning. So, it's going to be a lot different, but I'm definitely looking forward to a return to action. And finally, guys, the 2020-2021 season is now set to begin in December of this year. Now, CEO of the Atlanta Hawks, Steve Koonin, has been lobbying to push the season to begin later in the year. Do you think, with all this happening, that this will become the new normal for the NBA?
Personally, this is just my own opinion. I know it's more of a U.S.-centric type thing where they're concerned about competing with the NFL and competing with college football. Basketball is an indoor sport. Basketball is played in the winter. I don't want to be in a gym in July playing every year. I honestly don't. And maybe they feel like they can. There's no question they can compete head to head with baseball in the month of July if they decided to do it. But to me, I like to. If you want to push it back a few weeks and start at some point early November, mid-November. We used to start early November. Now we're starting October 16th, 17th. Maybe push it back a few weeks, and maybe you go a little bit into early July. But honestly, I don't know about you. And maybe this experiment, I think they're going to look at TV ratings right now and say, oh, everything was great. People watch the NBA. But a lot of people are on lockdown. They have no other choice. There's nothing else to watch on TV. But if you have a traditional year where people now have the ability to go to concerts and go on vacations and be out in the summer, honestly, I love the Raptors. I love the NBA. But on a beautiful summer night in July 18th, are we going to ask people to come indoors to watch a basketball game where the beauty of baseball is you're outdoors with the exception of those horrible places that have domes? Thank God the Blue Jays have at least a retractable, and I love it when it's open. But no, seriously, I think that's part of the attraction in the summer to be outside. So I get it, but I hope that we find a middle ground eventually when things get back to whatever normal is going to be and start in maybe mid-November and push the season back maybe a few weeks. But to go deep into the summer, I'm not a big fan of it.
Fully agree with you, Jack. I mean, summer's a time to be enjoying outside. No one wants to be stuck inside. Before we wrap up, guys, I want everyone's predictions. Which two teams are going to be in the NBA Finals and who's going to win it all? Burhan, let's start with you.
It's LA our way and the Toronto Raptors. And don't hate me, guys, but I think the Clips are going to win it.
Clippers. Wow, you think Kawhi's going, okay. Shelly, what are your thoughts?
In the West, I think it'll be the Clippers. I'm hoping it's the Clippers. Not that I'm not a fan of the Lakers, but I've seen what Kawhi can do on the Raptors, and I'm pretty sure he might do the same again this season. And then the Raptors, of course, in the East. And who's going to take it? The Raptors. That's not objective. That's not biased. That's just fact. So the Raptors are going to take it for sure.
I'm not going to lie to you. I'm out of the prediction business. I made some goofy predictions last year, and some people got pretty upset at me. So I hope and pray that what Shelly and Burhan said, I'm all on board with that, and I'm all on board with the Raptors winning the championship. Count me in on that. The ability for me to be a predictor of events, if I did that, I'd go play the lottery right now. That's for sure.
You guys, I'm definitely for LA, but I'm actually choosing the Lakers. I think LeBron, he's going to go back to the championship. I don't know. I'm not a LeBron fan. To get to the championship, and I'm not going to count out the Raptors. Going to be a good series, but hey, let's repeat, guys. Why not? We come this far, waited this long. Let's go back to back. Guys, thanks so much for joining us here on the Sports Roundtable. Just want to, for our viewers, where can they reach you on social media? Shelly.
At She Loves the Raptors on Instagram and at She Loves the Raps on Twitter.
Awesome. And Burhan?
At the franchise _ on Instagram and the franchise at the franchise _ on Twitter. Any fan experiences anybody needs, corporate, whatever it is, impress a client, girlfriend, boyfriend, give us a show.
Awesome. And Jack, any social media?
Well, people know about the Hello Jack site. So if you want to get some swag, we have a deal here in the month of June. Just type in Jack 15 and you get 15% off. So in terms of the Twitter and Instagram, off the top of my head, I think it's Hello Jack or Jack Hello, something like that. So you can find it. I'm sure you type my name in, you'll find it. So.
Hey, Jack, we can't go anywhere without you telling us to get that garbage out of here. So please, for the fans.
Courtney, for you, my man. Get that garbage out of here.
Once again, guys, Scarlett, you can find me at Courtney Scarlett Real Estate on Instagram. This is Toronto's Talk Sports and More. For the love of the six, let's connect.